Hello everyone. Let's continue with the demo. Please, Tobias from FASTFORWARD company. He will show us the last version of Hero. Please.
Thank you. Hi everyone. Super excited to be here. Been with the FASTFORWARD community for many years as a broadcaster and now as a vendor. Congratulations on the first PMC in person. I think this is a brilliant initiative. We love being part of the community, the knowledge sharing, the exploring of ideas, and the product we developed, we wouldn't have been able to develop had we not been working at a broadcaster or working with broadcasters. So I know it says demonstration in the program, but we brought the scanner, and it's really, really hard to demonstrate a film scanning solution on a PowerPoint. So please come and visit the stand and see how it works. What I will talk about today is how we developed it, what we're thinking, what we're learning from working with you, digitizing all of this wonderful film together with some of the broadcasters present. So what we're trying to do is create a solution that empowers the archives. So it's a rental model. You cannot buy it and build a commercial strategy on top of it. It's actually meant for the archives to use. We also hope to create a movement, and we have some ideas around what we should think about and talk about in the community related to film digitization that I'll share now. So what are we talking about? We're talking about production archives, collected over decades, very complex, sometimes a bit messy, often scarcely described. At DR, I was responsible for the digitization between 2007 and 2015. And it was during those years, together with my current founding partner, Ivan Dehn, who was also at DR, we developed the initial onset for these things. So what I'm going to talk about today is what, how, and why from our perspective. What have we learned about the capture process? We have an internal concept right now we would like to debate with you. It's hard to debate here, so I hope some of you come join me in the lunchroom and talk more about it. We call it the digital original. I'll explain more later. How, the simple, purposeful design tool and workflows that allows you to digitize the collections. And then why, what happens inside the organizations once you get started. But let me first jump to this guy. This is something that is quite important to me, and it resonates within all the projects because I keep learning new things around how to break these workflows down in bits and bytes that we can kind of chew off and learn from. And we started out digitizing film at the Danish Broadcasting Corporation in 2012. We made a film I presented at the time in Dubai. It's still online, there's a link here. I don't have time to show it now, but we broke down the workflow as much as we could. We innovated a little bit in the sense that we introduced a high-speed preview scan, because the objection was to digitize the entire archive, but we didn't have the time or the money to do a high-res scan, and we were afraid that if we started selecting all the calculations we did, meant that we would end up spending 30% of the budget, and we might select the wrong things, and we knew we needed more money, and we also knew that going to the board asking for money, or even the government at the time, saying we digitized the first most important 20% that we selected, now we need money for the not so important stuff, was probably not a good funding strategy. So we high-speed scanned everything, and we allowed the production, based on their needs, to prioritize what kind of footage that could be high resolution scanned. And of course, we learned a lot during that project. And I think the key components that we learned was that the workflow and the equipment that was available at the time was not good enough. It was a little bit like we broke down the elephant into a lot of chewable pieces, but it kept rotting because we weren't fast enough, and it wasn't actually not about making small bites. It was about having a fork and a knife, and maybe also more people to simply meet the task. So that kind of fed into the idea of starting a company that would develop a new strategy. One of the very exciting things we learned was that insourcing was really, really good. These collections are so hard to understand that if you want to outsource them, you almost have to do 80% of the work in terms of cataloging them or registering them, figuring out the length, all of these things, and then you had all the QC work at the back end. So insourcing was kind of like the best approach, at least as we found it. So that started FASTFORWARD. We wanted to create better tools for insourcing, tools that would allow the broadcasters to do it themselves. So I have a short video that explains a little bit about the process of developing a film scanner. I must say, it was more complicated than we thought. It took us 5 years, and building hardware is difficult, but we are super, super excited about the result, and I'm proud to say that it's in operation at several broadcasters now. Let's see if the movie plays, and let me just get the sound down, I think, and then let me know if you can't hear it. Together with Copenhagen Optical Company, we built the Hero over a period of 5 years. A film scanner designed to unlock 16mm archives quickly, easily, and affordable. We didn't just build a scanner, we built a workflow, together with the people who use it every day. From day one, we worked closely with archivists and technicians to design a system that fits real-world needs, which is why the Hero makes digitized film accessible instantly, ready to use. At its heart are the camera lens from Copenhagen Optical Company. Handcrafted optics, built to tolerances they usually reserve for their clients in satellite optics and space missions. Like they did for the Pixel instrument on the Mars rover Perseverance. That means that the Hero delivers the best possible picture from 16mm film. Just a short feel-good movie. The most important thing we found on a film scanner is the optics. So that's, of course, where we invested a lot of our money and time. Just to explain the capture process in very broad terms, the collections we're digitizing has a theoretical resolution on 1.5K. We created our own optical solution with 4K to ensure that we overshoot. And then we digitize currently on a 2K scanner. We can build a 4K scan. We've done some testing with the RTE, for that matter, on this. We're not sure it makes sense because the storage issues become, strangely hard to manage, or not strangely. So we think that, capturing is so important, so that's where we invested. And we did a lot of research, and I have to share that this is on the fringes of my technical capacity. But Ivan and Johan, who's here and demonstrating the scanner, can explain more, and we have some handouts and stuff. But all of this we tie together in the scanner, and the idea is actually to create a new concept for scanning. And the idea is inspired by the GLAM community, where you don't want to restore something, you kind of separate restoration and preservation. And that's the idea with this scanner as well. So we want to get a perfect copy of whatever's in the can. We don't want to mingle with it. We don't want to enhance it and stuff. So you could say the digital original is based on the innovations and work we've done. With the specialized optics, we can capture a perfect preservation file. We designed the machine so it has a fixed focus, which means that we always get the focus which was on the frame. We don't do any alterations, any enhancements, any zooms in the image or whatever that other solutions might do. So we make a perfect copy. We have the ability to control the settings on the camera. So all the films has the same settings, which means that you have a coherent collections once you digitized it with our solution. Yeah, as I said, no alterations, no adjustments, and we mean this both in terms of optical stuff that is happening in the scanner that you might not control, and or even from the operator. Because in many scanners, you won't actually be able to create the same scan if you give the same film and run it twice. Something might change, and you're not fully sure what it is. Then we built some software that guarantees that we deliver every frame. And of course, to make it easier, we also invented a solution where you digitize sound and image in one go, and that's always in sync. So you cannot lose a frame, and it cannot get out of sync. That was some of the issues we had earlier when we worked at the Danish Broadcasting Corporation, because we were using two different scanners. The two files that we had to merge in the end might not be the same length, because for some reason the sound might have shrunk a bit or whatever. But with this scanner, we can kind of force everything, because we're using the sprocket wheels, to make sure that the sync is perfect. So the idea about doing it, or having more knives and forks, or having small bites, and I might be butchering it, I just started a course in beekeeping, so I'm quite excited about bees. And one of the things that's so exciting is that they're really collaborating in a beautiful and very interesting way. And I mean, there are only two kinds of bees, but they can become all kinds of things inside the organization. And I think that's very, very interesting, and a metaphor for what we're seeing when we're working with broadcasters, that because we deliver a machine or a solution that is actually easy to use, we can train almost anyone. And because this core aspects, the optics, the fixed focus, and these things are ensured by the machine and the tool, you know as an archive that all your content is scanned in a proper way and a coherent way. So it looks like this. Please go see it. As I said, it has the 4K optics. It digitizes images and sound. It's fast. It can do 145 frames. We normally do around 100. We think that's probably more proper pace. Also, if something happens, it's easier to stop and fix it. You can fix it on the scanner. So it reduces preparation a lot. It can scan stuff without cores, which is a huge problem somewhere if you don't want to prep too much. It is super, super fast as it has an integrated transcoding workflow in the system. So you have the fastest turnaround. You can pretty much air something within an hour. And then most importantly for me, at least, it's designed to accommodate this community approach, which we think is really, really interesting, because that has a huge impact in many of the organizations we work with. It's super simple. You load it and digitize. You can do QC on the machine. You can do QC somewhere else, still within the workflow, and you export it, and you're done. It's very intuitive and easy. You'll see if you come down there. And am I short on time or anything? I just want to... We're good, good. So why? Because it works. We've been working with more than 10 broadcasters up until now. Most projects still run for years because the collections are so vast. But what we have seen is that because we have this rental model, which we strongly advise everyone not necessarily to build a rental model, but at least offer the broadcasters the ability to test the scanner before committing, either through a large investment or something else. It means that we always start with not always, but almost 100% of the times we've started with a shorter project, like 3 months, in order to allow you guys, or the broadcaster, or the client, or whatever we label it, to try the technology, see how it functions. Does it live up to the expectations you have, and so forth? And of course, this was an important thing for me, because when I was at DI, I had to invest a lot of money in building these digitization workflows, and a lot of the stuff I acquired didn't quite perform as I thought it would. It might have been me who misunderstood the vendor. It might have been the vendor who was a little flashy. It doesn't really matter. What matters was I spent the money and I couldn't get out of it, and I couldn't change it. And I thought that was not too good. So we wanted to make a company where when you work with us, you know what you get. You can try it, we can accommodate it, we can integrate different things into the workflow. But more importantly, we can make sure that if you commit to working with us, you know what you're getting, and you can get out of it in case you're not interested anymore. Furthermore, we think that as a community, we should help each other. So the idea is you have the scanner while you need it, and then it moves on and can help someone else. It also allows us to accommodate scaling. So many of our projects start with 1, and then you have 2 or even 3 scanners. So you have much more versatility. We could even accommodate this in shorter periods if you have additional manpower. When we work with companies, we often see that we train the initial team, and then they start training their own employees. So for instance, we worked a lot with Sweden, SVT in the beginning. They had a core team of, I would say, 8 to 15 people, but they ended up training more than 60 to 70 other people who were on projects, sound engineers who weren't really working on a project for a while. They could come and help the digitization project, and because we had fixed focus and all of these things, they knew that the files were always proper in the end. Furthermore, what we are also seeing, and which is really exciting, is that because you engage more people in the digitization project, you get more internal ambassadors. So they actually distribute the ideas and content they find, or the knowledge about them inside the organization. And that means that much more is coming to production teams and being used in productions. So it's a win-win, I would say. Hopefully a win-win-win. So not only for the archive, also for the broadcasters, and a little bit for us. Thank you. That's all.